Hey everyone, I'm Sarah, and today we are going to be doing crochet. So today we're actually also going to try out voice chat. So you guys know I mention my Discord channel every stream. It's this right here at the bottom of the screen. There is also a link somewhere, but it's under the About section under tabs. But I'm also going to put a link in the chat, and you are welcome to join here. I don't actually think anybody else is on right now, so it looks like it's just going to be me and Crixano. So welcome, Crixano. Thank you for being my very first voice chatter, and also Crixano also helped me set this up the other day, so I'm very appreciative. Thank you. Okay. So today we are learning a basic V-stitch, and you guys, after last week, you're going to be so excited about how easy this is. It is very easy. It's almost as easy as just the regular double crochet. So this is an example of the V-stitch, and it doesn't look particularly interesting right now, but I'm going to try it with a little bit thinner thread today. But see how, here's your V right here. Your little V. Now, there's something else called a V brick, which is if we were going to go into this section here, like so if it went every other one, and that might actually look interesting. I don't know, I haven't tried it, but maybe we can mess around with that today. But this is how it looks. It would make a very pretty scarf, so if you're interested in something like that, this would do well. So the main reason I'm doing V-stitch today is because last week we tried our hand at the alligator stitch, or crocodile stitch rather, and I realized that it was a little bit more complicated than probably you guys were ready for based on what I have taught you in the past. So I'm rewinding a little bit. We're going to learn the V-stitch. Next week, we're going to learn something called a shell stitch, which is really pretty, and we're going to do it with different colors so it brings out the pattern. But we're going to do the shell stitch, which is leading up to the crocodile stitch, which would just be next in line. So we're going to do 2 stitches first. So today, we're starting with the V-stitch. So any questions? And Crixano, now that you're on voice, you can ask questions if you have any. You do not have to, obviously. I'm going to be using this yarn. It's actually a wool, but I like the color a lot. It is, and I just realized it's almost the color of my desk. So maybe I might actually pick a different color. Hang on, I'm going to be right back because I think that we want something that's going to show up really well. We'll use my green. This is a nice dark color that shows up against this. If I want to use yellow, next time I'll remember to put something down so that you can see it better. Okay, I'm going to put that off to the side. The first thing we're going to do for our crochet math, just so you guys know, I have a 5mm or an H crochet hook, and this is size 4. The yellow that I was using before was size 3. I had wanted to use a little bit smaller size just to see what it was like, but we're going to do the green. The green is a little bit more streamlined than this particular yarn. Like, this is a nicer yarn than this, so it might actually still look okay. But let's get ourselves some slack. We're going to go ahead and make our slip knot. Remember, you cross whatever side's on top. You're going to make a little loop and put it up through the middle of that, and then grab both the tail and the working yarn. Working yarn is what's coming from your skein there. And just pull. Okay. So we're going to be using double crochet for this. Now for the crochet math, as I was getting ready to say, and I got sidetracked, of course, is going to be multiples of 7. So this I did as 28. But I think we're going to do 21 instead. We don't need it to be quite this long. So for our sample, because this took me quite a bit longer than I wanted it to make, which is why it's so skinny. But this might make a good bookmark. This is meltable. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys about that today because I always like to do a little add-on. So I'm going to tell you guys about melting acrylic. I don't have my iron with me, so I can't actually show you how to do it, but I'll tell you about it, and I'll give you the instructions and all of that. Okay, so we're going to do multiples of 7, so we're going to do 21. So let's go ahead and chain 21. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Now, Crixano, are you following along today?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So when we get to 21, let me know when you're there, Crixano. And I guess I didn't say a chain. The way a chain works is you put your loop around. I've explained this in previous, you can actually go back to the very first episode and there is good information about chaining there. But the way this works is you've got your loop on there. You're going to pinch it with your right thumb and forefinger. Yarn over. Trade pinches. So I always pinch with the left hand because I'm right-handed. So we trade pinches. And then you're going to pull that through, and that's it. That's an entire chain. So I'm actually going to chain 2 more because I want to chain 3 on top of the 21. So once you get to 21, add 3. 1, 2, 3. And the reason that is because we're going to build in our very first double crochet as that part of the chain. So multiples of 7 plus 3. Are you there, Crixano?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to count our chain. So each loop is a little hole, not counting the one that's actually around the hook. We're going to count 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to double crochet into number 4. Let me just recount that. There's one right by the hook that's trying to be small. It's hard for me to see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. So a reminder of double crochet. I'm going to come out of that hole real quick. You yarn over so that it looks like you've got 2 loops on there. You're going to go through the hole, pull your yarn through that hole. So now you should have 3 on there. Yarn over again, so now it looks like 4. You're going to pull through the first 2 loops. Now we have 2. Yarn over again, pull through the next 2 loops. So this looks like we have 2 double crochets here. That first 3 counts as our first double crochet. All right, so we're going to chain 1. Every time we do 2 together, we chain 1. So chain 1. Then we're going to skip 2, so 1, 2, and go into the 3rd and double crochet into the 3rd. Now there is a little chain 1 in between. This is going to be our first V-stitch. So we're going to do a little chain 1 and then do a second crochet in that exact same hole. And then we've done 2, so you always chain 1. So what I did is I did a double crochet, I chained 1, I did another double crochet in that same hole, and then I chained 1 again. Now we're going to skip 2 again. So 1, 2, go into the 3rd. And we're going to do another V. So our V is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same hole. And then always chain 1 at the end of your 2 crochets. And we're just going to keep going across like this. So I already chained 1. I'm going to count 2, skip it. 1, 2, go into the 3rd. This is literally the entire thing. 1, 2. Chain 1. Do another one right in that same hole. Chain 1 again. Skip 2. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. One, 2, 3. Now when I get to the end of the row, I always look back and make sure I didn't miss a V-stitch, because that happened quite a bit when I was making this. I would go back and I'd be like, wait a minute, there's only one side of the V. Chain 1 in the middle of your V and go back into the same hole. Chain 1 after the V. There's a lot of chain 1s in here. 1, 2, 3. Go into that 3rd one. Now, for some reason I'm ending not in the right way. Hold on. Did I miss one somewhere? Might have accidentally did one extra. We're supposed to end, so we're supposed to skip 2 at the very end, like when we get to the end. And then you're supposed to just crochet 2. Just regular crochet. You don't chain 1 in the middle. You don't put it in the same one. It's just regular crochet. For some reason, that didn't happen. I ended up with an extra one. Let me see if I can figure out what I did, because if it's a mistake that I can fix, I'll go back and fix it. Looks like I did skip 2. Crixana, did yours work out?
I don't know.
Are you at the end yet?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll wait till you're at the end. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat, so you guys get to watch this. Let me pull this out so it doesn't lose its place. So what I'm doing is I'm untying my slip knot, and I'm going to adjust the slip knot by 1. This is the cheat if you accidentally do 1 too many. Now, if you don't do, I can also crochet 2 together, and that might be what I do because I'm having trouble getting this undone. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to crochet 2 together. I have to undo this. Okay, so here's how you do that. You go into this first hole, you pull it through the first one, but instead of pulling through the second one, you're going to go into the second hole and crochet. So double crochet, and what'll happen is you're going to have 3 left on here. You're going to actually pull it through all 3. It's going to look a little wonky. That's okay. I'm not that concerned about it. This is a sample. Let me know when you get to the end. Look how pretty that is compared to this one. This is really nice yarn. I mean, for as inexpensive as it is, it's very nice. I like Karen a lot. It's probably one of my favorite yarns to use. And I have, let me see if this is Karen. I think that it is. Oh no, this is Lion's brand. This is what we're going to be using next week. for the colors. Ah, I'm so excited. It's like a muted rainbow. I got new yarn for next week. So I'm excited that this voice thing is working. I would like to get it so that we're using this more often. And of course, everyone is welcome to join. I think that this, you know, throughout history, fiber arts, such as weaving or crochet, knitting, are all very communal things. So like, you know, you've heard of like knitting bees where it's usually women, but also men, you know, get together and create. You know, they just get together and hang out and chat and do some kind of fiber art together. So that is it. It's just because it's such a community activity, then I think that it's really important to have this ability to talk live, you know, to not just you guys be able to see me, but also be able to interact with me, not just through chat, you know, like through actual voice. So if you're just now joining, if you are on my Discord server, then you're welcome to join us on voice chat. Crixano, can you say hey real quick?
Hola.
Okay, so just to show you that we do have two people, you can see up at the top right corner of the screen that we have two people on, myself and Crixano. And anyone else is welcome to join us and chat with us if you want. This is just, you know, hanging out. All right. Are you done with the row?
I'm at the very end.
Okay. So remember when you get to the very end, you do your last V, you chain one, then you double crochet one, double crochet another one in the last two holes. You're like, you still skip two, just like you've been doing.
Okay.
So it looks like it's Teacher Margot that's on. Teacher Margot, you are welcome to come join us. Oh, are you on the call? No, Teacher Margot is not on the call. Hold on. So Teacher Margot, when you come on, like if you come to the Art Share, go to the Art Share page and you'll see voice channels down at the bottom. There she is. Okay. Well, she was there. We're just working this out today. This is the first time I've ever used the voice channel in Discord, so hopefully everything works well. But yeah, Teacher Margot, you were in the right spot. One thing is that because you're on the phone, I don't know if you'll be able to also watch. A buddy of mine, AZMR, he does the same thing, the same setup for his Twitch stream, and I remember there being like kind of a 4-second delay in between Discord and the stream. So it's possible, like, so what I ended up having to do when I was watching him is I muted Twitch, but kept Discord, like, you know, kept it unmuted on Discord, and then so I could hear him and talk to him, and then I would just watch, and of course what he would say, like his lips would be just a few seconds behind. So Teacher Margot is on. Can you talk, or are you actually there?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Hey, you are there. Let me turn you up a little bit. I've got you.
I know you're very quiet too.
I'm very quiet?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Well, okay. Oh, are you on Discord? Are you saying I'm quiet on Discord, or am I quiet on Twitch?
Yes. You're quiet on Discord.
Okay, if you right click on my name, wait, are you on your phone or are you on the computer?
I'm on my phone.
Because if you're on the computer, you can right click on my name and it should have a little user volume that you can pop up.
It's all the way up.
It's all the way up? Okay. Then you may try turning your volume on your computer up maybe? This is good to get this tested out for sure.
Oh my God. So couldn't.
You're cutting out a little bit. So, Crixano, did you get to the end yet?
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing to check when you're on Discord, if you're ever on the call, it looks like she might have dropped off. If you're ever on the call, it has like the little bars where they gradually get bigger, and it shows you like how good your connection is. Those should be green at all times. If they're not, then you are probably dropping packets, which means that your connection's not going to be great. So always check that. If that goes down, a lot of times what I'll do is I will click the little X button and get out of the call and then turn around and come back. Okay, let's go ahead and continue our row. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be our first double crochet, and we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet into the second. So remember, this was our first. Go into the second crochet there. All right, and then chain 1. We're going to skip 2. We're going to actually go right into the middle of that V. So that V that we made earlier, we're just going to go into the middle of it. Like, you don't have to go into the hole or anything. I mean, well, it is a hole technically, but we're just going right into that opening, that big opening in the V. So double crochet, chain 1, and go ahead and do a V. Oops, and my yarn is being wonky. So we already chained 1, and then we're going to double crochet again right into the middle of that V. So this is making a new V stitch for the second row. Chain 1. Then we're going to skip this middle section and go right into the middle of our next V. Now this is what I was talking about, how like it would be interesting to see what it would look like to do a brick. Chain 1. Go right into the middle of the V again for our second double crochet. Brick meaning that it's every other one. I'm chaining 1 at the end. So instead of going into the V's, I go into the middle. So we might try that on the next row and see. Okay. So Teacher Margot, how's your day going?
Fabulous.
Yeah. I hear that there is a birthday in your household coming up. A couple birthdays actually, but there's one specifically tomorrow. Very excited about that. Okay, so I did my chain 1 at the end of my last V that I created. I'm going to go right into the next V. And we just keep doing this. Chain 1. I've got one side of the V. I didn't hear anybody in the background, but I understand completely. So I did my V. Now I'm going to chain 1 again. I've got one more V to do. So you go right into the middle of that V, double crochet. Chain 1, do another double crochet right in the middle of that V, and this creates our next V stitch. Always chain 1 after your V. Now, this time we're going to go, remember we have our 2 double crochets at the end? So we're going to go into the first double crochet and just do a normal double crochet, nothing fancy. And then we're going to go into our second double crochet, and this one's a little tricky because it was like the very beginning. You know, I wonder if I didn't go enough at the beginning, and maybe that's why I ended up with 1 extra at the end. It's possible. Okay, so you just double crochet, and now we are done with our first 2 rows. So you can see the V-stitch there. all of our V-stitches. All right, now let's try, we're going to try the brick stitch. We're just going to see. Let's try it. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. How do you feel about that, Crixano? Do you feel like trying the brick stitch? We're going to do the V-stitch, but in brick.
I don't care.
Okay, great. So this counts as our first double crochet. We're going to go into the second, right above the double crochet from before, and we're going to do a double crochet there. Now, instead of our chain 1, how are we going to do this? Let's see. How do we want to do this? Let's do... I'm thinking about this. We'll go ahead and do our V-stitch. So, but we don't chain 1 this time. We're going to go into the V-stitch, chain 1 inside the V-stitch, and then go right back into the middle. So this time, instead of going into the V, we're going into the hole next to the V. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, because I'm making this up as I go. Chain 1, we're going to skip this V-stitch and go into the hole next to the V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in that same hole. That gives us a new V-stitch. Chain 1, and then we skip again. And so to skip the V-stitch, go into the next hole. You chain 1 in the middle and then do a second one right in that hole, and that gives you a new V-stitch. For up above, chain 1, skip the V-stitch, go into the next hole. We're doing a new V-stitch, so we chain 1 for the middle and then go back right back into that hole and do a second double crochet. Chain 1, always chaining 1. The only time we didn't chain 1 was back when we were having to do our very first V-stitch over here. So I already chained 1. I'm going to skip this V-stitch and go into this next one. Chain 1. Go back into that hole. Chain 1. We're going to do our last V-stitch over here. Chain 1. Finish the V-stitch, and then instead of chaining 1 again, we're just going to double crochet right into those last 2. So we do our first double crochet and our second double crochet. That last one's a doozy. It's hard to get into because it's from when we chain 3 at the very beginning of the row. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, I like that. All right, let's try that again. All right, so we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn. Double crochet right into the next one. And now because we're skipping, we're going to chain 1 to give us some space. We're going to skip this V-stitch and go into the next hole. Chain 1. Hopefully everybody's getting this. We've got a new viewer. Welcome. You are welcome to join us in Discord. We have voice chat. So I chained one and I'm skipping the V-stitch and going into the next hole there. Chain one, finish the V-stitch, chain one, skip the next V-stitch. So you see it's a very simple, the V-stitch is pretty simple. All we're doing is doing 2 double crochets in the same hole and then chaining one in between. That's it. Chain one.
I think I've been doing this wrong.
You think you've been doing it wrong?
The second row, yeah.
Oh, the second row. Well, I did switch it up. So you can be going into, so like the second row was going into the previous V-stitch. And then I traded and now I'm doing what's called a brick. And I'm going every other one. So I did change it up a little bit. We're testing out. So I chained one. I'm doing another V-stitch. I'll take a pause here when we get to the end. Chain one. I'm at the end now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my double crochets there at the end. Thank you for joining us, Teacher Margot. I see that you had to drop out, but I appreciate you joining us and giving it a whirl. So I'm going to pause. Now I might make it a pattern since I did one row, then a second row that was directly above that row. It's just a straight repeat. Then I did an alternating one. I did another alternating one. What if we did another one straight above this? I think that might look pretty cool. What do you think? I'll wait till you get to where we are, Grixano.
I'm nowhere near where you are.
Oh, how far do you think?
I have the first row done.
Okay. Well, what I can do, I can buy a little bit of time. I'm going to get like a smaller needle. This one should do. And I'm going to actually weave in my end here. So how you do that is you go into the next loop and you pull it through. Go through the next loop here. Pull it through. Man, you know, this voice chat would have been great for my kitten stream. And then I could have gotten like Schwa and Dithinus and all kinds of people on. Maybe I'll do another fun stream at some point and I can get them to join. That'd be pretty fun, I think. Okay, so I went in and out all the way to here, and that's about 4 times. Now I pull it a little bit, and then I'm going to go back the other direction. Oops. This yarn is a little wonky. Fiddly. That's the official term. If you ever hear someone refer to yarn as fiddly, that's what this is. It's the kind that kind of sort of comes apart, or it has lots of extra pieces. Like sometimes there's something called eyelash yarn where it's a single string and then it's got all these little pieces coming from it. It's called eyelash yarn and it's very fiddly. Fiddly just means it's difficult to work with.
I think I have eyelash yarn.
Flux, welcome. You are welcome to join us. We are currently in voice chat in Discord. So I don't know if you just heard Crixano there, but you're welcome to join us and actually talk to us live if you would like. And it's just in my normal art chair. I've got a voice channel called Stream Chat, and that's it. That's the one. You just click on it. Not at the moment. Okay, cool. Well, maybe at some point you can, like someday in the future. I'm going to try to have this on all of my streams because I like the voice element. I like being able to have people that can ask questions. Okay, so I've got all the way to the end here. I'm going to trim this. Now, Crixano, how far along are you now?
I'm still in the same place because I don't remember.
Okay.
What you did for the second row.
For the second row? Okay, well I'm gonna actually be doing the next row exactly like the second row. So that will work out. All right, so here's what we do. At the very beginning of the row, you chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to double crochet in the, remember we've got 2 double crochets there at the beginning. You're on a tablet and don't have a correct microphone. Now, that's cool. Understand. So we've got our 2 double crochets. We're just going to do this counts as a double crochet there. So we're going to go into the second one and double crochet in that. So you're doing some line art then, huh? That's pretty cool. You'll have to post when you're done. You know I want to see it. All right, so after you finish the 2 double crochets, these are just regular double crochets, chain 1, and you always chain 1 in between pretty much all of your stitches in the middle. There's always a chain 1 in the middle. Now, we're going to skip this first hole and double crochet into the V. So we've got this V stitch here. We're going to go right into the middle of that V. Do a double crochet. Remember, everything in the middle has a chain 1 in between it. Chain 1. We're going to do a second double crochet right in the middle of that V again. Just same hole. You have some big recording mics, but you don't fancy having one stuck in your face. Yeah, okay, that makes sense if you've got all your art equipment and everything out. Yes, I would not want that either. That's why mine is very, very nicely off to the back of my desk. So remember, always chain 1 in the middle of everything in all of your stitches. So we're going to double crochet. We're skipping this second hole there. We're going to go into the V. Do a double crochet in the V, chain 1, and then do another double crochet right in the middle of that V. And that gives us a new V stitch. Always chain 1 after every single one. So see, we're creating a new V stitch right above there. Is this making sense, Crixano?
Sure.
Okay. So we're ready to do our next V stitch as long as you chained 1 already. Skip this hole, go into the V stitch, double crochet, chain 1, do another double crochet, chain 1. Lots of chain 1s. You'll get tired of hearing me say chain 1, I bet. Chain 1. I'm doing another V stitch here. All right. I'm at the end. So when you get to the very end, you have this last hole to skip, but you've just got those 2 double crochets. So what we're going to do, you make sure you chain 1. Then you're going to double crochet into the first one. And instead of chaining 1, you just keep going because the double crochets are right next to each other, so you don't have to. I'm going to double crochet into the second one. All right, let's take a look and see what this looks like. I don't even know if this is going to look good. We're just attempting things. Now you might want to, if you iron this, you'd actually be able to see the pattern a little bit. I'm glad I said iron because then I just reminded myself. So what this looks like is that we have 2 rows that look the same, and then we have one that's offset. Another thing you could do is you could come in here and just do all double crochets going across and then do a couple sets of your V-stitch. You could do a lot of things. You can make up your own pattern. That's what's pretty cool about once you learn how to do these different stitches, you can start making up your own patterns. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, there was one day when I added on a bunch of extra stuff. And I started doing, I made the leprechaun jumper. I don't know if you remember. So I made the little sweater, and it was where I showed you guys how to freestyle crochet and just start adding bits. You can always do that. You can always kind of make it up as you go. The biggest thing with crochet is the crochet math, but something like this is pretty easy. You're skipping 2 every time. So if you were going to crochet, double crochet, you would just do 1, 2, there'd be 1 in the middle here, a second one in the middle there, and then 1 in the middle of your V-stitch, second in the middle of your V-stitch, because it's counting as 2. So here's 2, here's 2, there's 2, there's 2. So you just keep doing 2, and then when you get to the end, you just do your last 2, 1, 2, and that's all of your double crochets. Then all you're doing is you go back to the skipping bit like we did at the very beginning. You do 2, chain 1, skip 2. That's it. So there you go. This is great. So I'm going to go ahead and end my crochet here, and I'm going to pull this through and weave in my ends. Now remember, I showed you how to weave in the end, but I'm going to do it again. Ah, thank you. Oh man, that's what you call work in progress? That's amazing. All right, guys, I'm just going to pull up, even though this isn't my art stream, I'm going to pull up Flux's artwork that he's working on. It's pretty cool. Hang on. That is what he's working on right now. He calls this work in progress. I would say that is well along. This is very nice. I love all of the detail that you get in there. Like you really, I like these, like this little membrane thing you've got going here. Like all the detail, just phenomenal. It must take a while. Anyway, excellent work as usual. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to work and we're going to do our, just like we did at the very beginning, we are going to weave in the ends. So you pull it through and you just go back and forth. All right, so I went back and forth a few times. Like I said, I usually do about 4 or 5. And then you go the other way. So I pull it a little bit just to make sure that this, you know, it's not like, because, you know, if it was too tight, it would be pulling it in, and you don't want that. You want it to be loose. And then I'm going to start weaving the other way. So you just go in the other direction. And you're just basically going in and out all the way to the end. Oop. All right. And once you get to the end, you can clip it. And what that does is when you go in and out like that and then come back the other direction, it creates a tension that it can't pull against itself anymore because it's going in both directions. So you see how this looks quite a bit cuter than this other one. Now we did try the brick pattern in the middle to where we didn't, we did our V-stitch, V-stitch, V-stitch. We did the second row right above the other V-stitches. And then we alternated to go into the opposite holes. We did that for a couple rows, and then we came back and went right over the V-stitch again. So that's what happened. That is why this one looks a little different than this one. This one's more uniform. You can see one row of V's. See, V, V, V. That's because I did them all directly over one another. Now, both of these are 100% acrylic. You always want to double check and make sure. But if you come on here and look, like I'm looking on the, right here, see how it says 100% acrylic? That's what you're looking for. If you have yarn that is 100% acrylic, you can do something that in crochet is called killing the yarn. I like how brutal that sounds. We're not just, you know, we're not just dirty as hookers. We're also brutal, apparently. Okay, so what you do, you take, I like to take like a damp towel. You put your iron at like the hottest setting, but this has to be with some kind of damp cloth or towel or something over it. You do not want the iron directly touching this because this is, for all intents and purposes, plastic. I mean, it's acrylic, but it's not real material. It will stick to your iron and you will get like brown, you know, iron stains on this. You don't want that. So you need to have some kind of material like a cotton or a towel. I like to use towels, something in between, and make sure that it's damp, and that will protect it from the heat, because that way it still transfers the heat, but it's a wet heat. It's a little bit like if you're cutting tiles, you always use water to cut the tiles. So anyway, okay. You put your cloth over it. Let's just pretend I've got this little like lens cleaner here. Put the cloth over it. Hottest setting. You're going to just hold the iron on there for about, I mean, I usually hold it for like 10 seconds. You can actually move it around in a circle, but I would do that for like 10 seconds. And then, you know, make sure your cloth covers the whole thing, obviously. But you can hold it on there, and that just kills the yarn, and you just move it along like that. That is it. And what it does is it actually, so in crochet or weaving, we have something that we call drape. So this material, if you notice, it actually drapes pretty nicely, but look, it doesn't go all the way around my hand. You know, it kind of sticks out at the bottom. Let's see, this one might have a little bit better drape. It does, like it kind of curves under. So you can see like how it would conform. This right here is rayon. It has very good drape. Like rayon is excellent. Like it just like molds to my hand. So what will happen is when you're making like a scarf, you know, if I put this on, you know, I have to like make it into what I want it to do. It doesn't just lay nicely. The wider the crochet, so the fact that I have a bunch of holes means this is going to drape better than, let's see if I have anything that doesn't. I don't offhand have anything, but basically, like if these were all tight together, like your single crochet and things like that, it doesn't drape as nicely. So by putting holes in there, that creates kind of a lace. That makes it drape nicer. Also, if you do the ironing bit, and again, that only works with 100% acrylic because it melts it. It literally melts it. It will actually make it shinier, and it will give it a very nice drape. Now, I always recommend with 100% acrylic, when you buy it in these rolls, in like these skeins, I recommend that you wash your scarf or sweater or whatever it is that you made, wash it first. Because if you wash it, there's usually like a little bit of sizing. Like they put like, they actually put like a coating around these. And that will come off. And so it will automatically be a little bit softer. But again, killing it is pretty cool. It just makes it look very shiny. Kind of how this looks shiny. See how this looks much shinier than this? That's what it does. So I wonder what this would look like melted. I bet this would be even shinier. Flux says, I love how many man-made fibers sound like sci-fi weapons from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Yeah, I agree. You've got Lycron. What else do you have? Well, nylon does too. Like, yeah, they all sound very sci-fi. I agree. All right. That is it. We finished today's stream in less than an hour. I think that was great. Does anybody who's on voice chat have questions, or anybody in our stream chat? I know this was pretty short. I told you the V-stitch was very simple. Like we didn't, I didn't pick a hard one. Next week's isn't a hard one, but because we're going to be changing color, then it's a little bit different. It's a build-up. Like I said, we did the V-stitch. Next week, we're going to be doing the shell stitch, and then you should be able to go back and watch my crocodile stitch, and it should be relatively easy after that. I just needed to do a little build-up. Anybody questions? Anybody have questions?
No questions.
Okay. Well, in that case, thank you everybody for joining the stream, as short as it was. I look forward to trying to use the stream chat on future streams, including my art streams. I have, this week we're going to be doing roses. So on Friday night, we're going to be drawing a rose, and on Saturday, we're going to be painting a really beautiful pink rose. Thank you for joining me, and you guys have an excellent week.